Hi everyone, hope you're happy, healthy and well. It is Thursday morning. I'm drinking my morning cup of coffee, my Christmas mug, and I am writing some stuff down because I have finished this book in the last day or two, A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. It's making me think long and hard. I need to get some thoughts down before I actually do the review. So stand by for that. I'll see you soon. Today, it is my pleasure to talk about Jennifer Egan's A Visit from the Goon Squad, which was published in 2010, but true to form, 15 years later, I start to read this book. Talk about being behind the 8 ball. I'm very slow with my reading, so if you want to learn what I think about some current published books, wait 15 years and I'll get to it. All joking aside though, I want to talk about this book and talk about some of the life lessons I gleaned from it, because initially when I started reading this book, I thought to myself, I'm not going to finish it. There is no way I'm going to finish it. I can't. It's just written in a strange style. But it intrigued me so much that I kept reading, and I finished it within a few days, and then I started thinking long and hard afterwards. And I've mentioned before that every time I think of a book long after I've read it, I know it's a mark of a good book. Look, she actually won the Pulitzer Prize for this. I think it would have been because of the way that the story is written, also the different writing styles in the book, which I'll come to. Let's talk about what the story is, but I'm going to keep it a very high level because I really want to delve into the themes, and I want to encourage you, if you've read this book, share in the comments below what you thought of this book and your ideas, what you think the themes were. But if you haven't read the book, I would say stop the video now, don't listen to my rambling, go and read it yourself, then come back to this and we can have the conversation online. That's how I would prefer you to do this, because I don't want to give you my answers. These are my life lessons. So the whole intention of reading a book and trying to understand it is for you to glean your own life. So A Visit from the Goon Squad is about mainly two characters, Sasha and Benny. Now, Benny is a music producer and he's quite famous and he's quite successful, but he's jaded. He doesn't feel quite authentic anymore in the music industry, which has morphed and changed over the years. And Sasha is his assistant. And we get introduced to Sasha in the very first chapter. And she's a kleptomaniac, which then starts us thinking, why is she like this and who is she? But the funny thing is with Jennifer Egan and how she wrote this book is, if you're expecting a story like a novel of Sasha and Benny and all their people, great. But you're not going to find it in this manner, in a linear form. It actually jumps from different time periods and different perspectives of the people in their lives over certain situations. It takes you through the past, the present, the future, and the near future. You glean those ideas of what may have happened. You get an idea of their motivations. You get an idea of their intentions, their reflections, their emotions of what's happening. And many times in this book, as I was reading it, I had to go back because I was trying to piece it together like a puzzle piece. And in some way, it came together in the end because there's a strong line of the music industry and a couple of the characters, Benny and also Scotty, who was a friend of his who was very down and out and poor, but who'd come to Benny and asked to make him famous. His name was Scotty, and Scotty gives a concert right at the end that pulls the stories together. I came out of this book feeling as if I had read an LP, if that makes sense. Every chapter is a story. It's a story of the different people and the characters. Every chapter has a title. In the end, it was kind of like I had read an LP. Remember the LPs, the vinyls, where you just jump from one track to another hydraulically, using the little stylus. I grew up like that. We even have record players. We still play records. And it felt like I was reading a track, and each song title was a chapter, and each song was a situation that had happened in that person's life that wrapped it up, all the ups, the downs, the whys, the wherefores, the loves, the disappointments, the decisions, the tangents that life takes you on. You know how you could pop into different chapters and have a different story, and each one is standalone, but each has a meaning, just like a song has a meaning. That's how I felt reading this book, because of the strong links to the music industry. Now, each of the stories I mentioned is a particular theme or significance. The life lessons I got from this book is that each of the characters are going through their own experiences, much like we do in our lives. In our lives, we have ups and we have downs, and we have certain points in our lives that we could have made different choices. And those different choices would have taken us down different tangents. And I don't know about you, but I always think of my life as a journey of a line. But there have been certain situations that have happened at part of my life where I have made decisions. And those decisions, whether good or bad, have taken me down certain ways. I do wonder at times whether if I've made different decisions, where would my life be now? And I found each of the characters were not really that self-aware. They were letting life happen to them, and they were recalling what had happened and where they are today. Life lessons here based on the different characters, like Sasha the kleptomaniac, hers was all about redemption. Scotty, who was the guy who hadn't been on social media, hadn't had a telephone, hadn't had any social online connection at all. He was touted as, I'm going to say pure, because he wasn't tainted with anything. And yet he needed validation from people. He needed to have a concert in order for the people to say to him he's something. Other themes are about morality, about authenticity. Authenticity one was interesting with regards to Benny trying to find something in himself and in his life that has meaning, and he takes these little gold flakes into his coffee, believing that the gold flakes actually give him something. I thought to myself that what Jennifer Egan was trying to do here was capture all the different themes that we have in our own lives: the need for connection, the need to be validated by other people, the need to be authentic. She introduces us to the dynamics of the music industry and how that can be fake sometimes, and she wraps it together in a concept that happens in the near future. Now, I read this in 2025. She wrote this in 2010. So we can assume that her future, she was looking at social media and the rise of social media and the rise of mobile telephones. A future in her chapter was all about people having their devices with them. Also, these characters of parrots, she called them parrots, and I had a chuckle with that because parrots are people who spread public information, publicity, marketing through word of mouth. So call them the influencers of today. Reading this in 2025 with the rise of AI, I do wonder how this would have changed and how people would have changed, because we're not getting what she thought. We don't have, I guess, the increase of babies. We're actually seeing a decrease in people having babies. The main theme in this book is that we are all interconnected. Life happens. Life will happen. Life will continue to happen. And we will make our choices. And these choices take us down different paths. We may understand and reflect on what these choices are and where we've gone to, and understanding where we've come from. Our life becomes like an LP, a track of music. Each song is a situation, whether positive or negative, that we have all experienced. It becomes a piece of music at the end. But I have forgotten to mention that some of you might find it difficult, especially if you like your stories in a timeline. If you've read Cloud Atlas, then you might like this book because it's very similar. It becomes like a puzzle and you read it, and there are times I had to go back and reread certain chapters to see where it all slotted in and what the time periods was. It all comes together in the end though. The other thing is it's written in different styles. So Jennifer Egan in one chapter writes all the story in PowerPoint. I've never seen this before. As a person who used PowerPoint in a working career, and especially when I was in work, when I started work, computers first came out. Yes, to the young people watching this, I was in the workforce in the early 90s. So can you recognize this? Yes, that was the old PowerPoint. Remember old PowerPoint? I used to do all my corporate slides on this shit. Oh, sorry, I can't swear. A whole chapter devoted to a story, a young person's perspective told through PowerPoint. And I had to chuckle with this because Nowadays, if we put the new spin on this, AI would probably create the story for you. I don't like that. And reading the story through the PowerPoint made you realize, okay, I get this. It made me think why I couldn't do my corporate presentations like this. After all, then maybe my senior leadership would have read my slides. I checked online and there is a follow-up book to this, and it's called The Candy House. It was published in 2022. It now touches on, this new book apparently touches on the new technologies, new media, and the impact of people and their lives of these. Guess what I'm doing? I've reserved it at my library. I'm going to read The Candy House because I want to see how this has changed. I don't know, for a book that I was really ready to put down and give away again to another secondhand bookstore, I think I'm going to hold on to this one because it deserves a second reading, third reading, fourth reading, whatever. I think this is a book that will have lots of conversations with people. It's a book that you could delve in and try and determine what the significance and the meaning is. It's a book that is relevant to our own lives because we can understand the motivations of every person. And the big theme that comes out of it for me is your life is like an LP track and we all go through it. We are all interconnected. We all have some meaning and we all play some meaning into each other's lives. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Hey, I forgot to mention the most important one. What's the Goon Squad? Well, the Goon Squad in this book refers to time. We all get a visit from time. Although the goons were also people you'd go around in a gang and try and beat everyone up. Anyway, time beats us up. We've got to learn to live with it.